What's up, geeks and gamers? My name is Draymond and welcome to Thorium Gaming. We're back with episode 15 of Nightly Valor, our attempts to bring the light of the Lady of the Lake to the old world and prepare for the inevitable invasion of chaos. 103 turns in and almost all of Bretonnia is under our banner. And we've been looking at a few things. We have Paravon that is still holding out. We want them to eventually go to war, well, get trounced by the Wood Elves. Then we can kind of make buddy-buddy with the Wood Elves and probably confederate with them. Down in the south, we still have a couple of generals. Eddie. I think it's just Eddie, actually, at this point. Yeah, I planned these out in advance. Furix, of course. And they're all taking care of Al-Halik, Kofer, and Martek. You know, the Eritrea War stuff. But they'll come under attack when chaos shows up. So our plans, more or less, were to try and make nice with the Wood Elves and then send a couple of our armies, probably Muffin and the King himself, through the woods and out through the pass to start dealing with some of the nasty stuff that's on the other side of these mountains. Most notably the Crooked Moon tribe that is barely holding on. They're just holding Grimhold. Don't know exactly how they're going to work out from there, because the Empire has been stomping them down pretty hard, and the Empire has grown massively, and Kislev has come in and gone all the way down to Talabheim, which is a bonus, I guess? But on that front, too, we can start upgrading a few of our cities, and getting to the point where we can do some really cool things. It's a massive hit to our treasury, but if we can get Courounne up to its final level, we can get some of the coolest stuff available to us. And of course, Grimaldus is headed back towards Courounne. And we have Phoenix going to go chill outside of Lyonesse, try and rebuild his strength. Might as well get him camping for now. And Shifroy the Devoted, one of the former lords of one of the nations that have confederated with us, we might send him up and send him up north and start dealing some hits on the Norskin side of the water, considering they keep coming down and trying to mess with Bretonnia. So we'll send him up that way. Should do well for us right now. And we did spend most of our gold upgrading Lyonesse, or Courounne. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. Got a couple of lords here ready to go. Let's see if we can get the Wood Elves to give us military access. Apparently not this turn, but they are, our relations with them, I should say, are improving, so it may not be too bad of a thing. They're going from -3 all the way up to 25. So as long as we don't take the Woods Decree from our research tree, we should be able to make nice with the Wood Elves, and then subsequently burn through. But there's not really a whole lot else that we can do right now, and we can eventually bring the king back up here to deal with this. A nasty little battle, but it does give us the Sword of Courounne for him, and it's definitely worth doing. And now that we don't have to worry about other nations really screwing with us, because we made peace with Tilea, we can start focusing on getting the king up. And I think our reputation with them is kind of improving. And the Green Knight, we've got kind of wandering around. Tilea has taken care of the Skaven down here. Since the Green Knight's going to wear out here pretty quick, we don't need to worry about him. And let's just see if we can take one shot at getting Paravon to join our confederation. If we can get a few more forces on the go, we can confederate with them. I forgot to manually move Starfurix, so he's just going to run down through the deserts a little bit and spy out what's happening down in the Southlands there. And I completely forgot we had Ahriman over there, so yeah, not exactly on my game today, but is what it is sometimes. Anyway, if we can get Paravon to confederate with us, then we won't have to worry about the Wood Elves that much. We'll get a whole bunch of other entire regions under our control, and it'll allow us to start really pushing beyond the borders of Bretonnia. The other option would be to go to war with them and then really hit them hard, but I sincerely doubt that to be a viable option. And it looks like the Empire really just beat down the vampire counts there. Manfred von Karstein himself got routed, but I guess that's the Emperor's army stack? I'm not entirely sure, but it could be. And a warrior priest is the treasurer. Well, at least he can lay the hammer down when people aren't paying their taxes. And it's still always funny to me that the Archlector is actually the High Mage. It's just not fitting with the fluff, but that's the beauty of the digital versions of this series. They don't exactly follow the fluff to heart. We'll see how everything is going to go. I'm not too worried about the Crooked Moon tribe because they are pathetically strong compared to us. It's probably not the best way to word it, but that's what I'm going to go with. Right now, I would really love to get Bretonnian troops, maybe a small errantry war, which would be a commander with a bunch of knights errant, over there to deal with some of these vampires. Granted, we'd need some Knights of the Realm to deal with their monsters, but one of our leaders with some good weapons set up could go in and potentially deal some serious damage to the vampire counts. Essentially right now we want Kislev and the Empire to be as strong as they can possibly be. The stronger they are, the harder they can resist when bad things start happening. And they are technically one of the forces of order. Forces of order are the, quote, good guys, end quote, of the entire universe. And someone leveled up. Lady Ryan. So, what can we get for you right now? We've got Cleanse Corruption and Specialist. Let's actually drop that point into Harmonic Convergence. It'll make you slightly better in battle. Let's see if we can get that military access pact. Not quite yet. And if we scroll back up, all the way to the top, can we get Paravon? No, we're not going back to war with Tilea right now. We just got out of a war with them, and it would be considered dishonorable, and we have to build our chivalry up, not down. How long do we actually have before we can declare war? 4 turns before we can successfully declare war against them again. We might end up going down south, which is not where I want to go for the entire thing. But if it happens, it happens. Can't really stall it too much. If that's the case, we might need Shifroy and his troops all the way back down there. So yeah, Shifroy, you're just going to be doing a tour of Bretonnia. We'll get you to run back down and see if you can help out the king. It's not ideal, but it's not a bad thing either. And if we can get Carcassonne on our next turn to start leveling up, we can get the Tower of the Fae Enchantress, which is something I definitely want to get. And since I don't see any Norskins around, if we put the good chaplain into march stance and take him out onto the water, we can grab this. And there's one of the differences between where we are now and the start of the campaign. If we're in normal stance, there will be an interesting location we can go to for a chance at money, but we also might get ambushed by vampires. The Vampire Coast DLC changed the way all of the Fell Cargos, Skull Reefs, all that sort of stuff behave, and made sea battles just interesting for a change. So we're going to try and save our cash so that we can level up Carcassonne, and then we have to save up the 14,700 crowns to build the tournament grounds, and then 9,800 for the Abbey of the Grail Champions. These are incredibly important structures. Don't really want to put off getting them for too long. But there really isn't much that we can do right now, but let's not forget to move our heroes that are down south this time. He sends Sarfurix down to take a peek at what's going on at the Wizard Caliph's palace. Doesn't look like they have much there, but the defense of the palace is actually stronger than it looks. The Hero Titan and the Ushabti are definitely dangerous enemies. Get him to start scouting that direction. We know Khemri owns most of the sands, so we either have to get into combat with them or ignore them. Now Galbaraz being destroyed. That might be destroyed, or it could be that it's under Skaven control. There is a Skaven clan that starts in this general area, so we'll see. Take one more quick shot at getting them to confederate. And right now we're not gaining as much reputation with the wood or diplomacy rating with the wood elves as I'd like, but there's not really much else we can do. So what we're gonna have to do is just sit it out for a couple of turns, let the other nations do their thing. And I forgot the Green Knight, but he's in some woods, so that's cool. Oh, and it wasn't the Emperor himself, it was Volkmar the Grim, the real Grand Theogonist, leader of the cult of Sigmar. So that's probably the Emperor up in Carcassonne then. It does make me envy the Empire a little bit that they don't have to worry about their leaders gaining the procrastinator trait by sitting in a city, but it happens. We can get rid of it by going to a city with a Grail Chapel and praying to the lady, because she solves all the world's ills. I'm seeing an awful lot of rocket batteries in the Empire armies too. Would not be my preferred choice of artillery for them. They do have Dwarven influenced great cannons, which would be normally my choice for artillery. Well, the Blessed Trebuchets would be my choice for artillery because I play Bretonnians, but that's what it is. The vampire counts are really getting beaten back too. That loss that they just took at Schwarzhaven must have really run their numbers down. Of course, we have no idea what's going on across the sea, save for the few patches of Ulthuan we can see, which isn't a whole lot. Oftos Berecht. Khemrian names are funny, which probably means I'm saying that Egyptian names might be funny, or at least they're hard for me to say, and hearing me say them is funny. Aside from really brutal languages, I don't pronounce things very well. Anything that's got a lilt or a roll to it, maybe, but generally speaking, I'm bad. Alright, we have the coin now to go in and upgrade Carcassonne. How much is it going to cost us for the Lady's Tower? 6860, so that's going to be a few turns out. It might be the first thing we do, actually. And we'll get Shiffroy down there. Bibali looks kind of under-defended. What is Telea's strength score compared to us? Just scroll down until we can find it. There it is. We're about even, which means they've probably got a fair number of troops in one of these cities here. Which city that would be, I don't know, unless they've taken this entire coastline, in which case it would make a lot of sense. Well, they have Lucini, and there's their army stacks.
The nation calls. The Empire.
But they look like they're going over towards Lucini, so we might be able to take Bibali and swing around the bottom of the coast. Not ideal. I'd much rather go through the woods. And we're not going to get our military access pact with them anytime soon. Chaplain, what is your army like? really hurt. So we're not going to push you into a position where you have to fight another battle. We're going to let you get to shore, go over to Courounne and heal up a little bit. Now, Phoenix, you don't actually have any knights at all right now, but you do have the Knight's Vow. Making it over 2 grand a turn. A couple units in Knight's Errant won't hurt you. We only have 1 turn left on Town Census, so it'll help us out on that front. That's pretty much all we can do. We should probably move the other heroes, though. We'll send Furix through the mountains, out the other side, to kind of scout out what's actually happening out here. Even though some of the Tomb Kings like us, some of them are kind of in the way.
Noble son of Britannia.
We're just going to bring you up here, Arimon, to scout out a little bit, and then next turn we'll get you to go to Galbaraz and see if it's Skaven infested or not. Might as well just hand it off to the other nations and see what they're going to be up to. I have a feeling that the Empire is going to continue to beat on the vampire counts for a fair number of turns to come. And wow, the dwarves have come in and taken Waldenhof. And there's the Emperor. So, who's the guy up in the mountains? And why do the dwarves not have any rune priests down there to actually deal with the vampiric corruption? That's what's kinda not making sense here. Ooh, maybe Eshen's gonna fall. And Eshen did fall. So the Empire has almost reclaimed all of its territory from the vampire counts. Technically speaking, that entire region, and I'm straining my brain right now to remember what it's called, is an Empire province, but nobody really... Sylvania? I think it's Sylvania. Which sounds right, but it might be wrong. Anyway, the entire province down there technically belongs to the Empire, but with the vampires running around like they do, there's not a whole lot the Emperor himself can do about it without going straight to the military option. And the Elector Count from there, I think, doesn't even have a sword right now. Like, they use... The Elector Counts have these special swords. They're a relic heirloom forged by the dwarves to signify that they can elect the next emperor. And Sylvania has not had an Elector Count, thus a person who carries an Elector Count sword, for a while. That's just if my memory serves. I'm sure if Arch Warhammer went over the entire thing, he would be far, far better than me explaining it. Oh, and what are you doing, little Bretonian? Please don't tell me you're going to go try and assault Xandri again. The last time you tried that, you had a much bigger stack, and you lost. But it does appear that the Tileans are leaving a fleet outside and reinforcing Lucini. Not saying it's completely out of character for them, but I'm kind of curious as to why they would want to do that. Then again, that's Sartosa right south of there, and we remember how the Pirates of Sartosa were in the Light of the Azure playthrough. They weren't exactly sane. So, who knows? They're just crazy people. And the dwarves managed to hold on. Ha, Gromidal the White Dwarf, and we got our town census. So let's look at our tech first. That's not our tech. That is the wrong button. So yeah, as long as we don't get the Forest Edge Decree, we should be okay dealing with the Wood Elves peaceably. And I don't want to kick things off against the Tomb Kings just yet. High Seas Decree for decrease in vampiric corruption? That might be good. But for right now, we really have to look into making our people stronger. if we give charity on this turn, which only takes a turn, it's 20 chivalry and more control, which gives us encouraged fanaticism, which makes our pilgrims better, and then temple tithes, which makes Grail Knights, Grail Guardians, and embedded paladins far better. And Bretonnians are a lot about their heroes, so we're just going to go with charity for this round, which screws over our plans to build the Tower of the Fey Enchantress, but...
I pledge you my service.
Alright. This is something else that has changed. So it is actually an abandoned ruin. But now we have puzzles to solve. Throughout the world, the Old Ones left vast troves of power for use by their most trusted servants. To prevent such power falling into the wrong hands, they placed wards and cryptographic locks over them. As millennia have passed, these wards have weakened, but the arcane locks remain. To access the treasure, solve the puzzle. The Old One, Tepok, the Inscrutable, never liked to repeat himself. Well, we have 4 options. 2 blue dots, which are up there. 2 red dots, which aren't. A single blue dot, which isn't. And a single red dot, and there's 2 of them up there. I'm trying to form... It's 2, 3, 4 for purple. 3, 4, 4 for yellow. 2, 3 for blue, and 1, 1 for red. This looks like the only one that doesn't exist in there in any way, shape, or form. So let's go with that. And we failed. Alright. Well, either way, Ahriman got himself a level, and we'll get him Blade Master. That'll help out. And Lady Di has leveled up. So, we can get her Chain Lightning. Which makes her all the more powerful. And we'll get Shifroy to come down. Still improving with the Wood Elves. We don't have enough to offer a small payment, do we? No, a small gift is 2,000 crowns. And Phoenix should have those extra 2 Knights Errant units ready next turn. And the Good Chaplain, within sight of Courounne itself, our beautiful capital. Camp your army and just wait it out a little bit. Means we can go down to where Furix is and get him to move out into the desert to see exactly what's going on. Now in these desert areas, this is something that took me a long time to figure out, and it's something that will cost you a lot of troops if you're playing a living army, not the Tomb Kings, going through this area. These sections right here that have all the little palm trees on them, those are safe paths between the cities. They're oases. Oasi? That's going to be another one of those words that I don't know. But if you go out into the open desert, you're going to suffer attrition. But if you follow these paths, they lead to every one of the cities that's out there. And you will pretty much ignore attrition while you're doing it. So I guess that's pretty much all we can do. Our control will go up in Musalon next turn. Doesn't really matter. It's probably corruption that's doing it, but our technology will take that away. And if we only have, I think it's 2 more turns left before we can declare war without... Yes, 2 more turns. Before that we can worry about Tilea. I forgot to move the Green Knight, but odds are he's not going to be around for that much longer. He's a temporary hero. The lady only sends us to him, or sends him to us, for short periods of time, and then he goes back into the ethereal realm where he actually lives. Now, is this treasurer warrior priest going to go after the orcs and goblins? And the Crooked Moon are destroyed, so we don't really have to push through the mountains with the Wood Elves. As long as we maintain peaceable relationships with them, we don't have to worry about them attacking us. So I guess Tilea is kind of where we have to go. Which means as soon as those knights are recruited for Phoenix, we'll send him down alongside the other armies. And then Chaplain Grimaldus, you're unfortunately on guard duty up north. You've been on guard duty up there for a long time. Maybe we'll leave Phoenix and send you down when your armies have replenished. Get you in on some of the action, level you up a little bit. Ideally, we get all of our lords and ladies onto hippogriffs but odds of that happening are fairly slim, at least until Chaos shows up and starts causing problems for us. Now, the Norskins aren't actually at war with the Empire right now, so them going into Empire territory is a little odd. It's definitely trespassing, because the Empire doesn't like the Norskins, but there's that. And it looks like Avalorn has confederated with Lothern, which is actually a good thing. Now, the Phoenix King and the Ever Queen are in the same faction. Ilariel the Radiant is actually the queen of all elves, depending on who you ask. The Wood Elves kind of do it a little bit differently. It's a very weird, convoluted, like, 3-crown system with them. You've got the Phoenix King, the Ever Queen, and then Malekith. But you also have the Shadow King, Aelith Anar, and Elven diplomacy is weird. Like, just really weird. That said, it is really well written in the Sundering set of books, which is based on Warhammer Fantasy. It's about the Elven Kingdom. It's got Malekith on the cover. I think that's what it's called. Oh, someone took the Sword of Cain. And it looks like the Telean armies are headed to the east. What could they possibly be wanting over there? And Sartosa is in their control. But if their major army stacks are going that way, with a lot of heroes going that way, especially their Bright Wizards, when we decide to kick things off with them, that means all of these areas are basically undefended. They like... The dwarves like them, but they don't like the dwarves. So that might be something to look into. Alright, King Lewin, we're going to get you to fly on Bequee down to the edge of our territory. Shifroy, we're going to do the same with you, and Muffin, you can get your button gear too. Should technically be enough. I really want to strike at Norska, so unfortunately we might have to leave you up there, Chaplain. I know it's not the greatest thing in the world for you, but with Norska over here and the fact that you have a strong army stack, we might just have to bump you up and go hit them on their own soil. Again, it's not exactly ideal for anything we do. And with our armies looking the way they are, kind of need it. So, Ahriman hasn't moved yet. And we can't search those ruins again because we recently searched them, but we know they are ruins, at least for now. And since the Green Knight is going to disappear here pretty quick, okay, I have to see, who is Tilea at war with?
The Empire.
They're at war with the Empire, Paravon, the Bloody Hands, and the Greenskins. So, they're at war with these guys. And the orcs that are probably in here. So what's probably drawing them off is something we don't like, which is orcs. Which is kind of hilarious. But let's actually grab the Heraldry of Carcassonne right now. I know it's kind of wasted at this point since they got wiped out early in the campaign, but the chivalry doesn't hurt. And then we can do the unification of Bretonnia and the overseas diplomacy, which is definitely going to help us out. When you consider that Lothern is stronger than we are,
the Phoenix Court will hear as you say.
We want to keep them on good terms with us.
Wisdom
In order of lore masters,
consider it done.
we can get a non-aggression pact. Can they give us a trade agreement? Yeah. So there's a little bit more money coming in.
I'm waiting.
They have trade agreements. They're allied with Lothern, so they should like it if we try and make peace with them, but they're not really in the mood yet. I'm waiting for someone to say, that's what she said. The dwarves, of course. See if we get military access. Kind of building up the forces of order via Bretonnia.
Hail, Bretonian.
which is weird because the Bretonnians are out of the way. We're not one of the central factions within the Forces of Order. Kind of a side faction. But you know what? That's kind of okay. So how much is it going to cost us for that tower? I keep forgetting. 6860. So we're going to be just short on this next turn, but then we can build it the turn after. And it's really important to get. And by then, we should be able to go to war with Tilea and not have any repercussions for it. So if we try to confederate with Paravon again and he has to go to war with Tilea, then we're good. So let's see what the other nations do. Let's see if we can get into it. I forgot to move Furix, which is a shame, because he could have gone over towards Khemri and the Black Pyramid. Black Pyramid's a very, very lore-heavy place. Are you going to take out Tempelhof? Please tell me you're going to take out Tempelhof. It does, in fact, look like the Empire is going to try and take out one faction of the vampire counts. Which means that Dragonhof and the other vampire nation, or vampire keeps, crypts, covens, are not long for this world. The Empire is really, really steamrolling right now. It's a good thing. They're our ally. They have been pretty much since the very beginning, but they're kind of spread out now. And unless they can keep some forces in the way, all they're going to do is slow down what could come, and then we're going to have to deal with it, which means we'll be fighting across a vast swath of the Empire. Because the map does not stop at the edge of the Empire. On the map, that furthest right burgundy color region, that leads up into a few more pieces that are owned by Kislev, and then the Chaos Wastes, where the northern tribes live, which Norska has slowly been eating up, but when, well, they're kind of a drake in a dragon situation. The drakes claim to be dragons till the dragons show up. And then, well, yeah, that's pretty much how it works. There's a lot of Norskins coming in. Wonder where they're headed. Are they going to try and jump the gap in the Grey Mountains and come at us from that direction? The silly, silly fur-wearing Vikings might be trying to come at us through the mountains. So it's probably a good thing we left Phoenix up there and that he's got cavalry now, because he might have to get into a big fight. Hopefully not anytime soon, but soon enough. We'll have to run him up to Artois at the very least. Possibly push him over to plug the gap. I mean, Chaplain can hold the coast on his own. That's a non-issue. But whatever's happening with the mountains right now, that's actually a fairly large weak spot in our defenses. So we're gaining advantage over Tilea, but we're losing advantage on the defensive front.
True Bretonnian. On to glory.
Alright, so let's see. Our lords haven't moved yet, but we're not worried about them just yet. What's going on over here? Oh, Tyrannoc. Guess we're seeing more since we're buddy-buddy with the elves. So Phoenix, get your army in motion and get up towards Artois. That is not a very big army, Sadak. And you have some semi-veteran units? Battle Pilgrims, couple archers, a Grey Relique, and the Lionhearted. So you've got some really strong cavalry to deal with them. And Chaplain can hold the northern coast by himself. Now, if we can get Paravon to confederate right now, that would be perfect.
Chivalry demand, I hear you. I must decline.
Unfortunately, not this time.
Champion of the lady.
And Lewin, we're going to get you and your helpers to drop into camp,
Lord and
just in
hero.
case we need you to go to war with Tilea. We gotta wait one more turn before we can build the Tower of the Enchantress, and we really need the Tower of the Enchantress, so we can't do anything with any of our other settlements. And Ahriman has gained a skill point, which we're gonna throw into Specialist. See if we can get him another level while we're at it. We'll keep moving him up to try and keep an eye on what's going on over here. Because eventually the Green Knight is going to fade away. And then we won't have that vision anymore. It does seem like Tilea is headed up this way. Not entirely a bad thing. Don't really know what the purpose of that would be, unless they're planning to strike at the greenskins from a weird angle. I don't really want to confederate with either of the other errantry wars right now. They're kind of a buffer. Well, at least we're the 4th strongest. The Empire's the strongest, Dwarves are the 2nd. I'm guessing that Lothern's the 3rd? Lothern's 8th. Who's 3rd? Khemri. Khemri's 3rd, and we're 4th. Kind of weird that the elves aren't stronger than they are right now. We're making 28-30 this turn. We're going to need that to build the tower. So again, we're just going to have to let the other nations play it through. See what they get up to. It's been a lot of waiting this week, but sometimes you gotta wait to get into the action, especially when we have to deal with Norskin attacks over and over and over again. At least we don't have to fight wood elves. They're annoying on the tabletop, they're annoying in this game, they're annoying in general. And I can hear Legolas fans going, why are you saying this? Well, it's true. Mobile archers on horseback with pinpoint accuracy suck to fight. Oh, it's fun when you're the one flinging out all the arrows, but my cavalry can't catch you like that. And when we do, well, we've got a few less knights to deal with you. That said, if a full pain bus, as the Bretonnians call them, it's a 3x3 unit of knights. Oh, there's Wulfric. Yeah, yeah, Norska's really trying to invade. And yes, they're trying to fit through the mountain gap. Are they in range of Phoenix to attack them, though? Because then we can get them back up north. Oh, it's kind of a hard decision to make. Do we commit to that, or do we pull back, or what? Or even, do we build another army stack? Try to populate it with some cheap units to back up Grimaldus, because Wulfric the Wanderer always brings pain. You know what? I'll take a defensive alliance with you. More Bretonnians on the same page is always good. What are the Knights of Origio doing? First they looked like they were going east. Now it looks like they're going south. Do they even know what they're doing? I don't think they know what they're doing. Well, at this point, I think it's a little too late to rush the king back up to help out. SAR-PC. Yeah, will make you harder to hit. It would take a couple of turns for you to get back up north.
Yes.
Now, Phoenix, if you go back to a regular stance, you can't actually engage them. But if we pull you here, you should be in Gisero's reinforcement range and should be able to take on that army. And while they might raid and pillage, they've done it before. Chaplain, you can pop in there. It might hurt us a tiny little bit, but I've got to get that tower built. We need it to start being built. Can we hire another lord here? Virtue of heroism is pretty decent. I don't like it when they don't have helmets on, though. We'll go with Knightly Temper, though. Melee attack is always good.
Blessings of the lady be upon you.
And this is going to be Adadon. Now, the big thing is, what can we get into your army? You've got room for 3 peasant units. The Norskins use a lot of infantry, so with 600 or 800 crowns, we can get at least a couple of men-at-arms with shields. Arimon will get you to keep cruising up the lane here. Ooh, and that's Wurzag himself, the crazy green dancing shaman. I wish I was making that up. He's the Savage Orc leader, and he dances. Ah, that's what's going on. Tilea is... Wow, they have a 3rd army stack that's that big. Zvorak is not going to hold out against those kind of forces. Guess that's why Wurzag's going up there himself to try and deal with it. But it's nice to know that Tilea's forces are all the way over there. With that said, though, we're going to grab the king. It'll take him a couple of turns to get all the way up the coast. But he might have to. And then we can leave these other 2 down here for kind of border defense. At least in the interim, anyway. But that is probably a good place to leave it for this week, guys. So if you liked the video, please consider hitting that like button. If you'd like to join up with the 232, pop up in this or other Let's Plays, or just to be part of the community, just hit the subscribe button, and make sure you're turning your notifications on so you don't miss when a new video goes out. And remember, guys, life is a game, so play to win. And until next time, take care.